BLSA has a lot to celebrate this evening, and I hope you enjoy the event. BLSA has had great success in the National Black Law Students Association mock trial and Frederick Douglass moot court competitions, and its members have held national leadership positions. I want to now invite our faculty advisor for the program, Professor Aisha Hardaway, who should be right here.
It has been my distinct pleasure to serve as the faculty advisor for BLSA for the last few years. The Black Law Students Association, started in 1970, is the second oldest chapter in the nation. It is a dynamic organization, ever aware of the many challenges facing our people and our students. BLSA regularly strives to rise to the challenge both in formal and informal ways. Whether it's through recruiting prospective students, supporting existing students, or using their talent and time to serve the broader community, the Black Law Students Association at Case does all of the above and more. It was an honor to have founding members Carolyn Allen Waltz, I didn't know y'all were gonna be here, Gerald Jackson, and James Alexander Jr. with us during our recent 50th anniversary celebration, and they're with us again tonight. Welcome. We were able to hear about the struggles that they faced at the time, and it was a testament to how far we've come, and also a sober reminder of the work that lies ahead. And I'm delighted to report that the current executive board is more than capable and very much up to that challenge. For those of you who haven't had a chance to work with them yet, you are in for a treat. Victoria, Sean, Aquia, and Lulu, you came out of the gate ready this summer to roll, and it shows. I'm beyond grateful for your commitment to the organization. To those in attendance, please note that you have heard it here first. The 2L class is sure to be counted among the ranks of our distinguished alumni when it's all said and done. To our 1Ls and our new students who have chosen to join BLSA tonight, as signified by your participation in tonight's induction ceremony, I am more than confident that you are in good hands. The students who have come before you built a strong, bold, and caring community to welcome and support you. Keep that in mind when your studies feel daunting and your confidence gets shaky. We are here to support you. I consider it our honor, our privilege, and our duty. With that in mind, I'd like to give a warm welcome. You all join me in giving a warm welcome to President Victoria Bonds, who will lead us and the newest members into the induction process.
Professor Hardaway, you should have let me know so I could have prepared my tears. Good afternoon, everyone. I could talk back, okay. My name is Victoria Bonds, and I'm the president of the Black Law Student Association here at Case. It is my honor to welcome you to our 2022 BLSA induction ceremony. I'm sure many of you have traveled from near and far to be with us today, and we are grateful for your presence. This year, BLSA's vision is to remember our history, replicate our success, refine our systems, and renew our community. And I must say, I think we've been doing a pretty good job at staying the course. As a community, we have broken bread together at our Welcome Back barbecue, learned how to master law school with attorneys from Kirkland and Ellis, reintroduced the speaker series, and started initiatives to increase productivity and accountability amongst our members. None of this would be possible without our amazing e-board. So if our e-board can wave, just so that we can acknowledge them. So for those that know me, like many of you in the room, then you know in preparation for today, I spent a lot of time thinking about, one, how I missed the opportunity to delegate this speaking role to someone else on our e-board, and two, what I could say that would be most impactful. Only a year ago, I was standing in your same position as a 1L. I recall feeling extremely anxious, a bit depleted, because law school was law schooling, and we had a major LEAP assignment due on the Monday after induction last year. I walked into the room full of Black alum who were excited to see me. They were excited to see us. In a moment that I just expected to honestly just be present, I received so much more. I heard the stories from Black alum about their contributions and their sacrifices. I learned more about Fred Gray and his contribution to our very first BLSA office. I was being nourished, equipped. I left the room knowing that I was standing on the shoulders of giants. I was not alone. As I returned to this ceremony a year later, I cannot help but to be grateful for this annual reminder of possibilities. So to our alum, thank you for your support, your sacrifice, and your contribution. We hope to continue to make you proud. To the families that are present, we hope that you get a glimpse into the warmth and support your loved ones are experiencing here with BLSA. And to our 1Ls, I hope this time connected to family and connected to community continues to fuel you, equip you, and remind you to stay the course. So, in solidarity and reverence to all that has come before us and great expectation of everything that you all will do, we stand in the present to formally welcome you into our Case Western University BLSA community. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, President Bonds. Indeed, great leaders and a great future for this organization. My name is Brian Adamson. I am the Associate Dean for Diversity and Inclusion here, and it's my honor and pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker today, Judge Charles E. Fleming. On September 30th, 2021, President Joe Biden nominated Mr. Fleming, Judge Charles Fleming, I want to call him Chuck, reasons will become apparent soon, to serve as the United States District Judge of the United States District Court for the Northern District of Ohio. The President nominated him on February 8th, 2022, and Judge Fleming became the second Black active judge on the court. Before that, Judge Fleming had been a longtime attorney with the Federal Public Defender's Office in Northern District of Ohio since approximately 1991, for almost 30 years. He has spent nearly 3 decades as a public defender tasked with representing clients who cannot otherwise afford legal counsel, a job title that actually only 7% of active federal judges have on their resume, according to the data from Federal Judicial Center. I should say Judge Fleming has tried in the course of 30 years, in addition to representing scores, if not hundreds, of clients, tried approximately 15 cases over the course of the 30 years, felony cases to trial. Judge Fleming, in his confirmation hearings, was asked a question by Senator Durbin that I thought pretty much sums up what I think he is about. He and I are fellow travelers because we went to law school together, were roommates for 2 of those 3 years, and so saw each other's struggles, triumphs, successes, and initiatives. And one of the things that always comes to mind, we were both steeped in mock trial and moot court, and we both early learned on the difference between a friendly question and a hostile question from a bench, and this instinctively came back to Chuck, I think, in a wonderful way, and what he said was so heartfelt. Senator Durbin said, President Biden has nominated a number of federal public defenders, and some of the critics have said that they cannot be fair in a courtroom. They're going to judge people not guilty in a case after case because of their background as defenders. What is your answer to that? Judge Fleming said, I understand what it means to be fair and impartial. I was one of those kids on the playground when I saw another child being bullied. I would intervene because of my desire not to see them treated unfairly. And it's that passion that motivated me to become a public defender. Now, After 30 plus years as an advocate, I believe I understand what it means to be fair and impartial in a proceeding. And I know that he is already bringing that fairness and an impartiality to the bench, as well as that empathy, that goodness, as well as that intelligence. Like I said, this is not only a point of professional pride, but a point of personal pride for me that I'm standing here today. So I just want to introduce to you, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce the son of the Honorable Judge Charles W. Fleming and Norma E. Fleming, the brother of Carlos and Patricia and Reggie, the husband of the wonderful Sarah Brown Fleming, and my friend, the Honorable Charles S.Q. Fleming.
Thank you, Brian. You know, I got one of those voices, I probably don't need this microphone. Thank you to the law school, to BLSA, for having me here today. It's a pleasure to be here. What I'd like to do is kind of tell you a little bit about my story, and this is for the 1Ls and the 2Ls and the 3Ls. And it's my hope that in telling you a little bit about my story, that it will inspire you at least a little bit in creating your own stories. And so let me start at the beginning. I was a problem pregnancy for my mother. I gave her the blues. I had what doctors call shoulder breach, placenta previa, and transverse lie. Wow. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with medical lingo, that means I was twisted all around the wrong way. I had the umbilical cord wrapped all around me such that it caused the placenta to detach prematurely. And that meant some very serious internal bleeding for my mother. I was killing her. And so the doctor had to make a choice. And the choice was to save my mother's life. Now, and that was going to be by taking me out via cesarean section and doing that 2 months early. So now, keep in mind, this is the early 1960s. I know I'm dating myself there. And understand that given the state of medical science at that time, it was a foregone conclusion that I was going to die. I mean, everybody in the room went into this with the understanding that I'm not living through this procedure. The hope was that my mother would live through this procedure. Obviously, things didn't work out that way. So, but they put me in an incubator. I was in an incubator for 6 weeks. And I wasn't doing well. They tried intravenous, wasn't working. They tried formula, wasn't working. And my situation got so dire that they read the last rites over me yet again, thinking I was going to die. But my mother's doctor got this bright idea. I think generally it's, I guess, not a good idea to give babies regular milk. But he said, look, formula's not working, intravenous isn't working. Let's just give him some good old-fashioned milk. What do we have to lose? He's dying. So let's try it. Man, they said I latched onto that bottle of milk like it was, and wouldn't let it go, right? And I started to bounce back, and the rest is academic. That doctor was credited with saving both my life and my mother's life, and his name was S.Q. Crawford. So for any of you wondering how I got that weird middle name, Charles S.Q. Fleming, now you know. Growing up, I was surrounded by public servants and the law. My mother was an educator who rose through the ranks at the Cleveland Metropolitan School District to become the director of reading, English, and language arts for the district. My father, as you've heard, Charles W. Fleming, was a judge in Cleveland Municipal Court. And my sister, Patrice, was just recently retired as an administrative law judge for 30 years for the state of Texas in their Department of Workers' Compensation. So it's not hard to understand how I got motivated to do public service and the law. And my first opportunity to put that into play was with the Federal Defender's Office. You've heard that I worked there for some time. But I had other aspirations. I wanted to teach, and I was fortunate enough to be offered a job teaching trial advocacy, which I did for about 11 or 12 years at that school, that law school down the street. We went. But I still had other aspirations. I wanted to be judge. And I applied for U.S. magistrate judge several times. I was a finalist for that position several times, but I was not successful in getting the position. So fast forward to 2021. Now at that point, I had been with the Federal Defender's Office longer than most of you have been alive. I'd been there for 30 years. And I decided that it was time for me to retire. It was time to move on. And I told my boss that I was going to retire. No sooner did those words come out of my mouth than 3 district court judgeships opened up. So now I was in a quandary, right? Because my mind was like, man, forget that judgeship, we about to retire. But my conscience wasn't having it. One of the things, and some of you may have heard me say this before, Brian, I'm sure you've heard me say it. One of the things that I've always made it a point to tell young people is the lesson that I learned playing Little League baseball for several years as a kid. It's a life lesson, although it sounds like baseball. And that is that you don't know if you're going to hit a home run unless you swing the bat. What you do know is that if you don't swing, you're not getting anything. So swing the bat, okay? Now, understanding that I've been saying this to young people for years, now my conscience is throwing it back at me, right? Because I'm talking about retiring. My conscience is like, aren't you the dude that's always saying that to young people? Now you just gonna drop the bat? And aren't you the guy that's been aspiring to be a judge your entire career? Now the opportunity presents itself and you just gonna quit? You just gonna dash your aspirations and your dreams on the rocks and just go off into retirement? Now understand that with my conscience messing with me like that, I didn't have any choice. I had to apply for the position because I knew, number one, if I didn't do it, I'd regret it for the rest of my life. And number two, I would constantly be asking myself, what would have happened if I woulda, coulda, shoulda? And I couldn't live like that. So I had to apply. I had to swing the bat. And I was fortunate. I was fortunate to be nominated by Senators Brown and Portman. I was fortunate to be I was recommended for nomination by them. I was fortunate to be nominated by President Biden, and I was fortunate to be confirmed by the Senate. And mind you, when I put that application in, if anybody had told me I was going to be a judge a year from then, I'd have fallen out laughing, right? But now I put the application in, and I'm getting these nominations and recommendations, and I'm watching my retirement go right out the window, you know what I mean? But I tell you that story not to toot my horn. I tell you that story because I hope there are 2 things you will take away from that story. First, God does what God does in God's time. I am the poster child for that. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking about that newborn that everybody thought was going to die. God had other plans. Doesn't matter whether you're talking about that assistant federal defender that aspired to be a U.S. magistrate judge. Well, that's not the position God had in mind. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking about that same assistant federal defender who thought at the beginning of 2021 that he was about to retire. God had more work for him to do. God does what God does in God's time. But in tandem with that, and equally if not more important, I'm going to tell you that same lesson that I've been telling people for years. You don't know if you're going to hit a home run unless you swing the bat. What you do know is that you won't get anything if you don't swing. It doesn't matter if you struck out yesterday. That is completely irrelevant as to whether you will hit a home run tomorrow. I could very easily have said to myself, having not been successful on several occasions, trying to be a magistrate judge, who, by the way, serves at the pleasure of the U.S. district judges. I could easily have said to myself, well, shoot, if I couldn't get the magistrate position, what's to make me believe I'm about to get a district judge position? And I could have dropped the bat and gone off into retirement. But I swung the bat one more time. And that one swing of the bat changed the whole landscape of my life and my career. Keep swinging that bat. Whatever it is you aspire to do, keep swinging the bat. Nobody's going to do it for you. You got to keep swinging. And sooner or later, you're going to get a hit. And sooner or later, that hit is going to be a home run. But first and foremost, you got to keep swinging the bat. So to all you 1Ls, it seems like not too long ago, I was in your position. I'm going to tell you right now, I walked into law school today, Brian, I almost turned around and walked out. Because I started getting flashbacks, you know what I mean? I walked in and it was a trip because I'm headed this way, you know, and I really caught me off guard because I said, hey, I'm trembling. What's wrong with me? It was like I was getting ready to go into a final exam or something. But you all, it's going to be fine. Let me tell you something. Don't stress yourselves out. One of my biggest problems when I hit law school was that I let the stress get to me. My first year was my worst year in law school because it was a completely different environment, a completely different way of learning. You take one test, do or die, and that's it. And that's your grade for the semester. Yeah, I get it, I remember. Don't stress yourselves out because guess what? It's going to be all right. Do what you got here some kind of way, right? Studying, surpassing, overcoming, right? Those tests that were put in front of you, you obviously knocked them out because something got you into case law school, right? All right. So you keep doing. I was just talking to another student just a second ago, and I said, look, you do what you do best. And that pertains to studying and everything. Let me tell you, I got to tell you a story. I didn't intend to do this, but I got to tell this segue now. My first year law school, I've always been, historically, I was always one of those by myself studiers, right? I just didn't want the distraction of other people talking to me. I had a nice organized mess in front of me. Only I knew where stuff was. Everybody else would just look like a mess, right? But that was fine for me. One day, I think this was my first exam. Was torts our first exam that first year? I think it was. Yeah, I think it was it torts? Okay, yep, she looked at, yep, it was tort. Torts. I had already studied for the exam. And somebody invited me to a study group. I said, well, shoot, they talking about how great the study group was. I was like, okay, cool, I'll come on over, right? So I go to the study group. Now, as it turns out, there were people in that study group who had not studied. All right? And they're throwing out all these different things. And I'm sitting here like, man, I don't remember that from when I studied. That's not the way I remember it, you know? And so at first, I'm confident, right? I'm like, nope, that's not it. I studied it. I know what I'm talking about. By the time I left and got back home, I was second guessing myself like, wait a minute, is that what I studied? Wow. Next thing I knew, I had to study all over again because just to be confident that I understood the material well enough to go in and take this test, okay? Do what works best for you. Mind you, I never studied in a study group ever again after that. Do what works best for you. That will get you through, I guarantee you, okay? So with that, I just want to say keep swinging the bat, y'all. Keep doing what you're doing, and thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judge Fleming, for your remarks. We really appreciate you. And what's the take home, y'all? Keep swinging. Okay. So now we are actually going to sing the Black National Anthem. There are like the lyrics being passed around, and we're going to sing it together because I'm not going to sing into the mic. All right, as a choir, are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new days begun. Let us march on till victory is won. All right. Okay. So I didn't know y'all could sing. I didn't realize that was happening. So next up, I'm going to invite our Vice President, Sean Goodman, to begin our induction ceremony of our new members.
Hey, everybody. So I'm going to begin calling names or in alphabetical order. All right, so the first name is Edwin Afriye. He is not here today. Next is Jonathan Brown.
Oh, we're doing a full picture together, okay.
Ikenna Ezala. Ricky Gilmore Vega. Chloe Lafay. Thomas Lipker. Cecilia Mercer. Obasi Ndukwe.
Take your time, take your time. All right, we didn't know we was coming out fresh.
Xavier Poplowski. Jada Rogers. Kendrick Sandifer in absentia. Yanina Sharpley Travis. Yatunde Smalls. Titus Wheeler. And last but not least, Candace Williams.
All right, can we hear it for our new inductees? All right, and can we have all of you come to the front, please? Yep, come on up.
My phone, I want to get a picture.
Yeah. So some on the right, some on the left.
Yeah, spread them out.
Yes.
I got my little window.
Okay, so in the presence of friends, family, faculty, staff, alumni, we are going to, I'm going to ask for you all to repeat after me our membership oath. So I and then your name. I, Jada Rogers. That's great, everybody knows their name. As a member of the Case Western Reserve University. As a member of the Case Western Reserve University. Chapter of the National Black Law Student Association. Promise to articulate and promote the educational, professional, social needs and goals of Black law students, to foster and encourage professional competence and influence the legal community by bringing about meaningful legal and political change that address the needs and concerns of the Black community. I promise to do all things necessary and appropriate to accomplish these purposes. Welcome. Do you want to do a picture, or we're good? Okay. You guys are welcome to go back into the audience.
I just wanted to also give my heartfelt congratulations to the entering class of 2025 Black Law Students Association members, and just look forward to all the greatness and the great things that you do, and the leadership that you will exhibit, continuing the tradition of the alumni here, as well as the second year and third year students here. One thing that I am certainly well aware of is the amount of dedication and passion that you put into making this institution not only a place that is diverse, not only a place that is equitable, but a place that is also inclusive and also fosters a sense of belonging. And everything that you have done in working with my office, working with the deans, working with the leadership, working with our faculty, have been had those goals in mind. And so we want to thank you. I want to thank you for doing what you do, and to tell you to keep doing what you're doing, and to let us listen and make sure that we are listening and responding to what you need to grow, to thrive, and to belong in this institution. We're really happy with some of the progress we made. We know we can be doing more, however. Right. We brought in a wonderful class of Black law students. We're really, really pleased and proud of that, but we know we need to do more. We have also engaged in double our efforts in that score by establishing relationships, establishing agreements, partnership and collaborative agreements with universities across the nation, with our HBCUs, with our Hispanic serving institutions, with our tribal colleges and institutions. So for example, we have agreements, pipeline agreements with Morehouse, Spelman, Hampton, Xavier in Louisiana, Dominican University in Chicago, Tuskegee University, University of Alaska Anchorage, and others, where we can offer incentives to attract and retain students from those organizations. And we're seeing some of the fruits of our work and those efforts in that score as well, as evidenced by some of our grads, some of our matriculants, like Kendrick, who is from Tuskegee, and others. Am I missing anybody right now? Yes, sorry, yeah, our Morehouse man here, Mr. Grant. So we're redoubling our efforts and growing those efforts in that regard. We've established a Jumpstart program where instead of taking criminal law in your fall semester, students can come in the summer and take criminal law and an intensive writing course to get them prepared for the life of a law student, where they actually take criminal law, but also learn how to be a law student, learn the Socratic method, case briefing, outlining, exam preparation, time and stress management, right? And also give them a chance to network with lawyers, to be mentored by our Bacchus fellows, some of whom who are here today, wonderful, Heavenly, where's Heavenly? Heavenly, Mia, Naka, and Christine Love. wonderful mentors this summer of our Backus Fellows, our Backus Scholars, right? We also have established our Race, Law, and Society course, a one-year elective, where students can study issues of structural inequality in the law and in social policy. This year, our focus, the theme is indigenous peoples. Our first year, the theme was race. The second year, the theme was gender. And so we're really happy to be able to continue that. Other curricular opportunities that we're creating to grow our work in areas of human rights, civil rights, such as our poverty law course, as well as our critical race theory course. And we're really, really proud of course, and just excited about the work that Professor Hardaway has been doing in her space with regards to the Social Justice Center, as well as the Social Justice Law Journal that she has established and many of you are working on. And then as a final note, we established and we launched just 2 weeks ago the Academy for Inclusive Leadership Development, where we are educating and giving law students as well as legal professionals and business professionals the skills to be change makers in their organizations around the efforts around diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging. So we want to continue these efforts. We will be redoubling our efforts to grow our student body, to grow our community that is reflective of the real change we want to be, that is reflective of what we see in our society and the change that we want in our society. And it starts right here, and I'm really happy and proud to be a part of this institution, and even prouder to be amongst you all tonight, and just know that you all are destined for great things. And so I hope that our alumni, you continue to come back and to see this beautiful group of people as we build community together. On a final note, if you're an alum and you have not seen the BLSA office, it's something. It is wonderful. And were we able to get the pen for people to? You have a pen? So if you haven't yet, haven't signed as an alum one of the panels, make sure you go over there and sign it. Even if you have signed it already, go take a look at it. All right? With that, thank you very much. And we're so glad you're here. And we'll see you at other events. And we'll be in touch. With that, I'll say thank you. Is there anybody else coming after me? Do I close it out? All right, I'm closing it out. Enjoy the rest of the evening and fellowship, all right? Y'all take care. Bye-bye.